Good morning. In less than 2 weeks, the Rose Auditorium, as we know it, will close its doors for the last time. For the past 55 years, this room has truly been the heart and soul of Newark Academy. When I'm asked what sets Newark Academy apart from other schools, I always answer that there is a sense of family here, and I attribute much of that to the moments that we all share in this space. This is where we are most like a family. Mr. Austin recently described the auditorium using the phrase genius loci, which means that multiple spirits oversee a single place. So much has happened here. This room has been a silent witness, standing resolutely since 1964, when Newark Academy relocated from the city of Newark to a 68-acre campus in Livingston. Here are some of the earliest shots of the auditorium. Notice the frou-frou brocade curtain. And before I go on, I'd like to thank Mr. Caldwell, the NA archivist, who helped me find these wonderful old shots. And I expect that many of these photos were taken by Mr. Parlin, who has been capturing countless events in this room since the doors opened for the first time. An excerpt from the 1965 yearbook features a lengthy description of the exploits of the drama club, advised by Senor Abney. The new Rose Auditorium was the venue for several productions, including a variety show called Curtain Up, seen here. The yearbook caption ends with the quote, "All in all, this year's productions have been acclaimed as the finest ever, so for the future it appears that everything is coming up roses for the drama at NA. Truer words were never spoken." These jacket and tie-clad boys sit just where you are this morning, are getting their marching orders from Mrs. Lyman. On the first day of school in 1966. We didn't go co-ed until 1971. Which might explain this image from the Drama Club variety show in 1969. Here we have a dapper-looking group of young singers who were members of the Glee Club, with David Strawn, their director. This shot from 1970 shows that the floor area was larger in those days. As the school grew, we added seats, creating a new front row. The 1970s ushered in the arrival of young women. We were now a co-ed school. So one wonders why this was still necessary. Well, it was a different time. We've come a long way, I'm happy to say. I noted that for years, this stage featured a natural hardwood floor. It was painted black in the 80s. And the plays and musicals kept on coming. Keep in mind that there was still no McGraw Art Wing at this time. The Rose Auditorium was Theater Central. The booth has been home to many a student. Years of tech crews have tended to the equipment, setting lighting plots, painting sets, running spotlights, and standing duty in the booth. Here's a shot of morning meeting in 1985. I started here in 82, and I can name every faculty member sitting here in the front row. In fact, there are quite a few of us in this room who could. Digging through pictures, I couldn't help but stop on the faculty section of each yearbook. I thought you would enjoy seeing some of your current teachers back in the day. My point here is that many of us have made nearly daily visits to this space for several decades. This is the end of an era. For me, it is bittersweet. And I know it's not Throwback Thursday, but I couldn't resist adding this shot of Mr. Nisenson back when he starred in Bye Bye Birdie in 1995. Eventually, the other performing arts found equal footing on this stage. Instrumental music, dance, choral music, jazz. Countless numbers of performers have graced this stage. For the artists among us, this room has been particularly important, as we have seen for over 5 decades. But we have also come together in the Rose Auditorium to celebrate. Like bookends, We celebrate the start of a new school year with convocation. And we come together in this room on the last day to celebrate the completion of another year and the start of summer adventures. Sorry, there isn't time to run this video. In between, our days at NA are marked by regular gatherings in the rows, starting with morning meeting, where students and faculty alike stand at the podium to share our achievements and our disappointments, our kinships and our diversities, our reflections and our aspirations. It is at morning meeting that we also process world events. We do this together as a family. We welcome new students and faculty to NA, and we say fond farewells to teachers and staff and every senior since 1965. The auditorium has featured spirit weeks, yearbook dedications, senior celebrations, passing of the gavel, 8th grade graduation ceremonies, public speaking classes, and some will remember the days of the large group humanity lectures. In recent years, the doors have been opened wider, inviting in global speakers who have inspired us to look out far beyond these walls. Homecomings and reunion celebrations have been held in the rows, and alums often speak of the familiarity and the nostalgia they feel for this space. They come in here and they seek out their old morning meeting seats, and they reminisce. In fact, alumna Liz Macy, class of '93, wrote a novel entitled Lessons I Never Learned at Meadowbrook Academy. Clearly, her time at Newark Academy was the inspiration for this book. In fact, the auditorium is memorialized in the chapter entitled Morning Meeting 805. I'll read just a couple of descriptive sentences that are sprinkled throughout the chapter. The aisle in front of me was covered in a red carpet. I darted my eyes over the entire room to take it all in. There were polished wooden seats upholstered in a deep burgundy red. I quickly headed down the aisle, which began to feel intolerably long. There was a wooden podium set up on the stage, and a majestic red curtain hung behind it. So does this sound familiar? This is a bustling, busy school. But we take time every week to sit together as a family in this room. In 55 years, the Rose has held us through good times and bad. We have celebrated the birth of children, and we have gathered to honor those among us who've passed away, both faculty and students. It is here that we are reminded what a decent, caring community looks like. While the old will be stripped away and the new installed, the soul of this room will remain, the genius loci, because the soul of this room is the people who have gathered here year after year, and you have all been a part of that. We enter the next chapter. A new space will be built with a new name. The 8th grade class night on May 29th will be the final curtain call for the Rose Auditorium. A rose, by any other name, would smell as sweet. Translation: what matters is what something is, not what it's called. Thanks for listening.